This is 5 on 20 News with Pedro Santa Cruz.
And Tammy King. Coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It is Tuesday, January 23rd. First in local headlines.
A volunteer for the immigration advocacy group No More Deaths was arrested by Border Patrol agents and charged with harboring immigrants. The arrest of 35-year-old Scott Daniel Warren occurred just hours after the group released a video showing Border Patrol agents destroying jugs of water and other materials aimed to aid immigrants crossing the border. Warren now faces up to 5 years in prison for harboring 2 people suspected of being in the country without authorization after he gave them food and water. No More Deaths also released a report claiming that Border Patrol agents vandalized 415 gallons of water while spilling nearly 3,600 gallons of water in the desert from 2012 to 2015. During this time period, over 1,000 people were found dead in the Sonoran Desert. The group said that the agents are responsible for the widespread interference with essential humanitarian efforts. The Border Patrol says that they were simply watering the desert to see if anything would grow. I wonder if it did.
I don't know. A bill passed by Arizona legislature last Thursday maintained health insurance for thousands of low-income children under Arizona Kids Care program. The House Health Committee approved HB 2127, a bill designed to prevent a funding freeze for the program, which is the state's version of Children Health Insurance Program, or CHIP. The program was set to run out of money in a few months before Congress passed a bill on Monday to keep the government open. They will have to pass another bill to keep the government open on February 8th, but HB 2127 makes it so that Kids Care won't be threatened. Kids Care currently serves nearly 24,000 low-income children in Arizona. The bill now goes to the Rules Committee before moving into the full House for a vote. The House hopes to add work requirements in order to receive health care, as they claim that these kids are just sitting around playing video games all day. They got to work for it now.
Kids these days. A $2 million collective action lawsuit claiming gender discrimination was filed against the Arizona Board of Regents on Monday. The lawsuit claims that Honors College Dean Emerita, Dr. Patricia McWardell, was paid dramatically less than male deans at the University of Arizona. The complaint alleges that ABOR failed to adequately pay McWardell during her tenure, which began in 1978. It states that the university appointed Elliot Chu as the interim Honors College Dean after McWardell left her position and was paid a salary more than $100,000 more than she was paid in her final year as dean. It also alleges that Terry Hunt, who was appointed as McWardell's permanent successor, was paid almost $70,000 more despite having less experience. The complaint points a finger at Provost Andrew C. Comrie as encouraging a culture that marginalizes, demeans, and undervalues women. McWardell attorneys are seeking an injunction against ABOR to prevent further conduct violating Dr. McWardell's rights and the rights of other collective class members. They are also seeking an adjustment to the wage rates and benefits, along with back pay and damages for lost compensation to the professor. ABOR denied that they underpay females and said that McWardell's demand for back pay is pretty typical for abroad. Wow.
Just taking a moment, that's all. Whew, okay. A bill proposed by Arizona Representative Travis Grantham would allow non-lethal weapons at public universities, including the University of Arizona. Current U of A policy prohibits mace and the chemical found in most pepper spray devices. However, the university does allow normally available over-the-counter self-defense repellents. Grantham said that the current policy is vague and leaves students feeling vulnerable. University students are divided on the proposal, with one side feeling that the change is necessary and the other saying that the change would make them feel more unsafe. The bill has not yet been voted on, and a hearing has not yet been scheduled. HB 2172 defines non-lethal weapons as a weapon that explicitly designed and developed to incapacitate or repel a person with a low probability of fatality or permanent injury. As a result, Donald Trump's speeches are now considered non-lethal weapon.
You know, I always use these guns for protection.
Oh.
Flu season has not just been tough on Arizona's people, it has also affected our canine companions. Just like their owners, many dogs are coming down with the canine version of influenza. Although the strains that affect humans and dogs are different, the canine version is even more dangerous and contagious. And considering the fact that dogs drink out of the toilet, eat off the floor, and stick their noses in other dogs' tushies, it's no wonder that the dog flu has broken out in 46 states, including Arizona. If only dogs could wash their paws. Veterinarians advise that you should get your dog a flu shot, which, unlike the human version, actually works.
Now in national and international news. Pennsylvania's Supreme Court threw out the state's congressional map after ruling that Republicans unlawfully sought partisan advantage. The court gave Republicans 3 weeks to rework the map in a way more fair to both parties. In a 5-2 decision, the court ruled that the electoral map violated the state's constitution by manipulating the district's boundaries to benefit Republicans, a practice known as gerrymandering. Gerrymandering. I didn't want to call it Jerry. Gerrymandering. Republicans have until February 9th to draw up a new map and submit it to Governor Tom Wolf. The Democrat Wolf has until February 15th to sign off on the new map. If the deadline passes without the agreement, then the court said that it would draw up its own boundaries. The decision could benefit Democrats, who hold only 5 of the state's 18 congressional districts. Pennsylvania has long been accused of using gerrymandering in the electoral map, which was drawn up in 2011 after the 2010 census. Michael Lee, a redistricting expert in NYU, said that the gerrymandering cost Democrats 2 or 3 seats in Congress. State Senate President Joe Scarnati called the deadline impossible and said Republicans would request a stay from the Supreme Court. In case that doesn't work, Pennsylvania Republicans are loading up on Red Bull, No-Dose, and Ritalin so they can meet the deadline.
You know, drawing lines is difficult.
Especially when you're on Ritalin.
Mm-hmm. Very, very difficult. U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee leaders are criticizing a provision that was tucked into the agreement that ended the government shutdown. The provision would allow the Trump administration to spend intelligence money not authorized by Congress, according to the committee leaders. Republican Richard Burr and Democrat Mark Warner spoke out against the provision on Monday, saying that it could take away lawmakers' oversight on U.S. intelligence matters. The senator requested that the language in the bill be replaced with a measure written by leaders of the intelligence committees. However, the measure was rejected as the agreement was moved forward yesterday without change. As their first act by the now functioning government, the Trump administration planned to spy on Richard Burr and Mark Warner to find out if they're into any freaky stuff.
All right.
I bet they find something.
Probably, yeah. Last week, ICE agents detained a Michigan doctor, who has been living in the U.S. for 40 years on a green card. Lukasz Nik, who came to the U.S. from Poland when he was 5 years old, is now being held in Michigan's Calhoun County Jail, according to the report from Grand Rapids NBC affiliate. Nik's sister said that the family doesn't know when he will be released from jail. She said that it could be up to 6 months before he gets a hearing, and in the meantime, he's stuck in a prison cell. The news report mentioned that Nik was convicted when he was 17 on one charge of destruction of property of less than $100 and receiving a concealing stolen goods. Nik reportedly pled guilty to the charges under the Holmes Youthful Trainee Act, which helps young first-time offenders keep charges off their criminal records. However, ICE does not honor state plea agreements. Keep this in mind the next time the president says that he only wants to get rid of immigrants who have criminal records.
You know, what amazes me is that he's been living on a green card for 40 years. He must have impeccable balance. Those things are tiny. Republican mega donor Charles Koch, one of the infamous Koch brothers, donated $500,000 to House Speaker Paul Ryan 13 days after the tax reform bill was passed. The plan lowered corporate tax rate, along with tax rates for the highest earners. Charles, along with his brother David, have consistently donated to libertarian causes that lower taxes for corporations, including their own Koch Industries. Both brothers are on the top 10 of richest individuals in the world. Charles and his wife also donated $237,000 each to the National Republican Congressional Committee, according to the International Business Times. The Koch brothers are planning to spend millions on a public relations campaign to tout the reform bill, according to the Wall Street Journal. This will include a star-studded event featuring Sheryl Crow, who will sing "The First Tax Cut is the Deepest."
It does hurt.
I haven't heard that one. Do you?
It hurts. The Trump administration imposed a 30% tariff on solar panel imports in an effort to signal a more aggressive approach to China. The move was criticized by much of the $28 billion solar industry, who gets about 80% of the solar panel products from imports. The Solar Energy Industries Association says that the tariff will increase prices on solar power and kill about 23,000 jobs. Two solar companies, Sunnova and Solar Wood World Americas, actually requested the tariff after both companies filed for bankruptcy. They say that the tariffs will boost domestic manufacturing and add over 100,000 jobs. While Solar World Americas was grateful for the tariffs, they say that they might not be high enough. The company initially asked for a 50% tariff. Sunnova said it was content with the move, saying that over the last 5 years, nearly 30 American solar manufacturers collapsed. Today, the president is sending a message that American innovation and manufacturing will not be bullied out of existence without a fight. The tariffs are primarily aimed to China, the #1 solar exporter, but it will apply to all imports since China has moved operations to other countries. Besides environmental groups and solar manufacturers, the move was also panned by some right-wing groups such as the R Street Institute, who says that it was a disappointing loss for free trade. The dispute is likely to be challenged by the World Trade Organization and other countries as violation of international law. The last time major tariffs like this were imposed was in 2001 for steel imports, which were later overturned by the WTO. If the tariffs are rejected, the Trump administration is developing a plan to block the sun to further inhibit the use of solar technology. So now building a wall and blocking the sun in Arizona.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
A 66-year-old Illinois woman snuck onto a flight bound for London, England last week and stowed away across the ocean successfully. The woman snuck into the O'Hare International Terminal and was able to hide in the plane's bathroom until mid-flight, when she then found an empty seat on the plane. The plan worked to perfection until the woman attempted to get a passport when she landed in London, where she was arrested and deported back to the US. She would have been successful at obtaining a British passport. However, passport officials became skeptical when they noticed that the woman did not take afternoon tea and that the woman was carrying a strange foreign dental item described only as a toothbrush.
This was 5 on 20 News with Tammy King.
And Pedro Santa Cruz. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube account, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. for all the latest creative Tucson news and content. You can also feel free to get in touch with us at info@creativetucson.org. Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson.